for today's cup of coffee. We're going to be talking about, and we're going to continue on with this little dark psychology. And that basically is what this goes under. There is the term dark psychology. And so I was going to talk about that specifically, but basically what it means, more words usage, basically. I do have...
More words.
More words. All this falls under the level of dark psychology.
Dark-sided stuff.
And what that means, and I will post a link on this because I had found an interesting article by a gentleman in India that I was going to use, and it had a more, fuller explanation of dark psychology. And I thought it was interesting because in India, the healing arts and stuff, they still use what are considered metaphysical tools. Because he's a psychologist and possibly a psychiatrist, I put my article over there, so I don't want to reach it. But he's also a tarot reader. And astrology charts are very much still used as part of the other treatment, which is interesting. And at some point, hopefully, Western medicine will open its mind. Maybe. And maybe not. No, it's doubtful because if there's not a pill for it, they don't usually want to pay for it or treat it. That is dark psychology. Because what it is a matter of taking what has been learned from psychology and using it to manipulate people. It's despicable. It's evil. In the article, he did write about how it was a form of dark magic. So I thought that was interesting, and it's another viewpoint on these things.
So therapy is dark magic?
No. If it's trying to help someone have a better life, then that is not dark magic. If it is being used for the purposes to manipulate someone to doing something that they don't want to do, that's when it gets into the realm of the darkness. Again, free will. It's all about free will. I can present you with information. I've told you this before. I can provide information to you. What you do with that information is on you. You can ignore it. You can do further research. If it's beneficial to you, if you think it will make your life better, use it. If you don't, check it. It's pretty simple.
Yep.
But it's up to you. I'm not saying that you have to believe this. I'm not trying to coerce you into believing this or anyone else.
I'm not trying to sway people.
No. No, I'm not trying to sway them.
Dissuade.
It's okay. It's all right. And
Suede, horrible fabric to sew.
You will hear me taking sips of coffee during this one. Because I have coffee, because it's been another long day. And I thought I had, why is it every time I think I have everything lined out that it just, it blows up. It blows up. It's one of those days that...
That's just how it is. That's why you always have a backup plan.
I did have a backup plan, which included more research. It's a good thing that I like the researches. I do. But what we're going to be focusing on today is called the Dark Triad. Yeah. And people shit on Wikipedia.
You should have been a professor.
No. No.
You like the research? There you go.
I like the research. Are you kidding? The way the science is going today, the way that the colleges are going today. Oh, hell no. I would have been burned at the stake in the student union hall.
I don't think they're gone that far yet.
Oh, don't you believe it.
Are they actually burning people at the stakes?
If they did, they would lie about it. That or they'd say that it was some kind of cultural something or whatever, Wicker Man thing.
But it's illegal here, so no, they would not get away with it either way.
Only if people find out about it. For real.
Thousands of young people and older
have a camera in their pocket. You tell me one of them is not going to record that shit and post it online? You know they will.
Well, I guess they would. So, maybe.
Because they do that all the time.
And then they would be taunting. It's like, oh, look how fast she burned. Anyhow, going back to the shitting on Wikipedia, and I've done it before too, but actually Wikipedia, for the most part, is beneficial. Or it's beneficial to me. A lot of the articles are well written. Not all of them. They have citations. So, yeah, I mean, if you want to sit there and cross-reference, which I have done before, not on this, but I have done that before. It's frustrating when somebody's got a reference and you go to it and it's 404.
Speaking of references, I got to look up something.
So, this one was very succinct. And with this dark triad, this comprises the personality traits of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. That's a pathological, it's a psychotic. So, I knew that.
I didn't know that. I thought it was.
Didn't you? You watched Mythbusters that time.
I did.
About the spontaneous human combustion. That's for another cup.
They didn't say anything about that.
Well, yes, they did, because that was kind of part of the wicking theory. You're messing with the equipment there.
I had to move it.
Okay. And these are called the dark triad because of their malevolent qualities. And again, as far as the forces of darkness that exist. So that's how it's like, it's, paranormal, supernatural. Here you go. It's just influencing humanity. We have spirits. We have souls. Can those things become tainted? Can they be hijacked by the enemy? Absolutely. We've seen it. Research on the dark triad is used in applied psychology, especially within the fields of law enforcement, clinical psychology, and business management.
That's it.
Yeah, now we could go into that as far as the fields of law enforcement where they use a computer program to try to determine the rates of recidivism.
Well, see, I knew it to a degree that psychology went into advertising.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do that one. That's an upcoming cup. Because that goes in with the dark psychology. All of this stuff does. People scoring high on these traits are more likely to commit clinical psychology and, commit crimes, cause social distress, and create severe problems for organizations, especially if they are in leadership positions.
Leadership positions.
Hey, I have an addition to my coffee tonight, so just leave me alone. And so,
you didn't say I did.
How can... that sort of stands to reason. We're seeing that, everybody has seen that for generations. That sometimes people get to the supposed top of the ladder by illicit means. Okay? They also tend to be less compassionate, agreeable, empathetic, satisfied with their lives, and less likely to believe that they and others are good. Well, if they're doing negative things, they're not good.
No.
So that would be an accurate assessment of self.
Yeah.
All three dark triad traits are conceptually distinct, although empirical evidence shows them to be overlapping.
Ah, shit.
Yeah. So you don't have to be all one or the other. You can have combination of all three. That would be... I know people that could fall into that category.
Yeah.
Narcissism is characterized by grandiosity, pride, egotism, and lack of empathy. And we are going to go further in depth on these, so don't panic to sit there and go, what does that mean? Machiavellianism.
What the fuck is that?
Is characterized by manipulation and exploitation of others, an absence of morality, unemotional callousness, and a higher level of self-interest. These are the puppet masters. Actually, I would say that the puppet masters have all three characteristics, but especially that one. Psychopathy is characterized by continuous antisocial behavior, impulsivity, selfishness, callous and unemotional traits, and remorselessness.
You know, you would not believe the amount of people that could not pronounce psychopathy.
Why?
Don't know.
It's not hard.
I know.
Can they say sociopath? Psychopath?
Some of them have issues with that too, but you know. But
No, that's-
psychopathy. Some people cannot say it. Just like banana.
Who cannot say banana?
There's a few people out there. I've seen them. I've heard them.
Do they have a speech impediment?
No.
Okay.
Just can't say banana.
Okay.
They can't say a few words either. They just dumb.
Everybody's got
They just challenged.
Everybody's got their something. Okay.
I couldn't say railroad for a while.
But you can say it now.
Then yeah, I still struggle with that one.
But you just said it. You said it well. All three traits share characteristics such as a lack of empathy, interpersonal hostility, and interpersonal offensiveness. Now, we'll say for people who don't know, because some people don't know, what is empathy? Okay, sympathy is feeling sorry for someone. Empathy is understanding someone's loss.
Yeah.
And if you become overly empathic, and there are some of us, you know, it's interesting that empathic is a accepted term at this point.
Really?
That means that you have the ability not only to understand somebody else's emotions, but to feel them. Mm-hmm. And it's not uncommon.
It hurts.
Sure. And it's not uncommon if you've got a friend or somebody that is grieving and that you share that pain. You know.
It fucking sucks.
Well, it's better
especially if you are like walking through and then all of a sudden you pick up, like, let's say
Walmart,
on
somebody, yeah.
And then you all of a sudden just feel so sad and it's like, oh,
You've
shit.
SpongeBob somebody.
Who the fuck did I just walk past?
Yeah.
Who the fuck just took my joy?
Well, and the thing is with that, you pray for whomever, you ask God to relieve you of whatever it was, you lift it up to Him. A number of measures have been developed to measure all three dark triad traits simultaneously, such as the Dirty Dozen and the Short Dark Triad. And these are tests, and I'm sure that they can find the references on this article. Most of these measures are questionnaire style and either self-response or observer response. And that's ratings from supervisors or co-workers. Both methods can prove problematic when attempting to measure any socially aversive trait. No shit.
Yeah.
Because there's a hell of a lot of variables amongst people. All that is subjective.
I was just about to say it's all subjective.
Well, and this
really
type of,
is.
This is the type of thing that aggravates people, and they're like, "Oh, psychology is a pseudoscience." Self-responders may be motivated to lie with observer responses, particularly with the Machiavellianism. Individuals who are skilled at deceiving and manipulating others should be perceived as low in deceptiveness and manipulation by others, resulting in accurate ratings. Again, these are masters of disguise on this stuff.
Yeah.
Which makes paranoia. I don't know that paranoia is not necessarily a bad thing if you can keep it sort of under control a little bit.
Yeah.
Despite these challenges and the acknowledged commonalities amongst the dark triad traits, there is evidence that the three traits are distinct. Now, they can overlap, they can be co-occurring, but they can also stand on their own. Narcissism. Individuals who score high on narcissism display grandiosity. They're attention-seeking. Everything is big. It doesn't matter if you've stumped your toe. A narcissist has stumped their toe 15 times, and it's always worse than how you stumped your toe. Yeah. They are the king. And
they are the shit.
They are the king and are the queen of toe stumping. They know it better than anybody else on the earth. That's grandiosity. Also, entitlement.
Yeah, how about we knock that down just a few ticks?
Dominance and superiority. Narcissism has been found to correlate positively with extroversion and openness, and negatively with agreeableness. Narcissism has also been found to have a significant correlation with psychopathy. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the Machiavellianism, which was named after the political philosophy. I got the Machiavellianism
And yet you can't say philosophy?
Right.
What the fuck is going on?
This was named after Niccolo Machiavelli. It's Italian. It's Italian. People who score high on this trait are excessively
Sorry, all this bus ride is going to be bumpy.
Motivated by self-interest, cold, and lack morality. They view interpersonal manipulation as the key for life success and behave accordingly. Individuals who are measured to have a high level of Machiavellianism tend to have low agreeableness and conscientiousness. You say conscientiousness.
Conscientiousness.
It's not as easy.
I almost did it.
It's not as easy.
I wasn't saying anything to you about that.
Machiavellianism is also correlated with psychopathy. And then the psychopathy itself is considered one of the most malevolent of the dark triad. Individuals who score high on psychopathy show low levels of empathy and high levels of impulsivity and thrill-seeking.
Wow.
Yeah. What?
Just a wow.
With respect to the Big Five personality factors, psychopathy has been found to correlate negatively with agreeableness and conscientiousness. And as far as I had watched something the other day about this kid that he was messed up from the time that he was very young and had actually told people, he had told friends, he had told teachers that he was having these horrible thoughts of hurting people. He wanted to hurt people. Then he started hurting animals. And by the time that he was 15 years old, he had gruesomely murdered this old couple for no other reason than he wanted to kill someone.
He told people for years, and yet no one listened to him.
Right.
And yet when he finally does it, people are shocked.
Absolutely.
That's bullshit.
Sure it is.
He was basically crying out for help.
No.
Like being like, he has these thoughts.
No, he was telling them, he was sharing his thoughts, but as far as crying out for help, oh, hell no.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind.
He was one of these people.
He's an evil motherfucker.
Absolutely. And because he was juvenile when he was sentenced, they were, I think that the possible parole date was like 2022, so like this year.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And that there were people, it's like, oh, hell no. I mean, I won't even go into it. It was gruesome. And it's like 15 years old.
There have been serial killers younger than that.
So
children, literal children, killing.
Yeah. So psychopathy was not formally studied until the 1970s with the pioneering efforts of Robert Hare. Now this is funny. Hare noted that asking psychopaths to self-report on psychologically important matters does not necessarily provide accurate or unbiased data. Now, I'm sorry, but if you've got, somebody that's studying that and they don't realize that these people are going to lie on any kind of test, he does not need to be testing anyone.
No.
Because he's got a high level of the dumbass. I'm going to develop a test, and it's going to be the dumbassery test. And we can see how high people can score on that.
I woke it up.
Okay. The dark core personality, or D factor, is the personality trait proposed to underlie all other dark personality traits. And there are several researchers that have suggested expanding the dark triad to contain a fourth dark trait, sadism. And this is defined as the enjoyment of cruelty and is the most common addition. While sadism is highly correlated with the dark triad, researchers have shown that sadism predicts antisocial behavior beyond the dark triad. Sadism shares common characteristics with psychopathy and antisocial behavior, which includes lack of empathy, readiness for emotional involvement, and inflicting suffering. Although Reedy et al. 2011 showed that sadism distinctively predicted unprovoked aggression separate from psychopathy. Sadism predicted delinquent behavior separately from the other dark triad traits when evaluating high school students. Now, I think that says something about our world, that you're having to test high school students for sadism.
Yeah.
Harmful behavior against living creatures, brutal and destructive, amoral dispositions, and criminal recidivism were additionally more predominantly predicted by sadism than psychopathic traits. Studies on how sadists gain pleasure from cruelty to subjects were applied towards testing people who possessed dark triad traits. Results showed that only people exhibiting traits of sadism derived a sense of pleasure from acts of cruelty, concluding that sadism encompasses distinctly cruel traits not covered by the rest of the dark triad, therefore deserving of its position within the dark triad. Now, you can't tell me that that's not demonic.
It is.
I think so. I mean, you know, you had wondered there yesterday. It's like, well, how is this, you know, spiritual? Absolutely spiritual. It is a disease of the spirit on this stuff. Now, the vulnerable dark triad comprises three related and similar constructs: vulnerable narcissism, sociopathy, and borderline personality disorders. Now, clinicians view narcissism and psychopathology or psychopathy as pathological, which means that's basically, you know, disease. Mental illness on that one. And in the workplace, Oliver James identifies each of the three dark triadic personality traits as typically being prevalent in the workplace. Farnham, 2010, has identified the dark triad is related to the acquisition of leadership positions and interpersonal influence. Well, anybody who's ever worked any place could have told him that. Jonathan and colleagues, 2012, found that each of the dark triad traits were related to manipulation in the workplace, but each through unique mechanisms. Machiavellianism was related to the use of excessive charm in manipulation. These are the ones that are the ass kissers. You know?
Yeah.
Narcissism was related with the use of physical appearance. These are the ones that go in with the bosoms hanging out in the high heels. And psychopathy was related with physical threats. It's like, yes, you're going to promote me or I'll beat the hell out of you. Mm-hmm. This is interesting because within all this, they have now included internet trolls.
Really?
I found this fascinating. Recent studies have found that people who are identified as internet trolls tend to have dark personality traits and show signs of sadism, antisocial behavior, psychopathy, and Machiavellianism. The 2013 case study suggested there are a number of similarities between antisocial and flame trolling activities, and the 2014 survey indicated that trolling is a manifestation of everyday sadism.
Shit.
Both studies suggest that this trolling may be linked to bullying in both adolescents and adults. So there you go. These people are sick humans.
Mm-hmm.
That's, you know.
Evil motherfuckers.
Yeah. I mean, who sits down and takes the time to purposefully write a comment, and some of them are lengthy comments, to try to hurt somebody's feelings, ruin their day, whatever.
Yeah, look at the comments on TikTok. Oh, God.
And that is that form of sadism, to sit there and go, I am going to just try to ruin their day.
Mm-hmm. But with that, there's always... Some of the comments, though, are so fucking sweet. I just can't with them. They're just so... Like, some of the comments are just so sweet. Fuck the negative. Those comments just take all that negativity away. They're just
well, I understand
as
far as the balance and stuff, but It's like, But now, there we go. There are studies that prove that these people are mentally ill and spiritually ill. Because in my world, it's the same.
We kind of already knew that, though.
Well, yeah, but now we have proof. All right, physical attractiveness. There are several academic studies that have found evidence that people with dark triad personalities are judged as slightly better looking than average on first sight. 2 studies have determined that this is because people with dark triad traits put more effort into their appearance, and the difference in attractiveness disappears when the person is dressed down with bland clothing or without makeup.
Well, shit.
So there goes you plastic people. You know, with the 2 inches of the makeups and the false eyelashes and the silicone boobs and all that. And I think you can buy asses off Wish now. We talked about that at some point.
You can seriously, silicone body parts. You can buy those and wear them.
Yeah.
There's literally like pullover arms.
Okay.
Like silicone arms that you can buy and that you just stick your actual arm into.
Total deception. Complete deception. But it says that 2 more studies found that only narcissistic subjects were judged to be better looking in actuality. Yes. Of course they are, because it's all based, they're superficial. All right, now there's such a thing as the light triad, and influenced by the dark triad, Scott Barry Kaufman proposed a light triad of personality traits, which includes humanism, Kantianism, and faith in humanity. High scorers on humanism are more likely to value others' dignity and self-worth. High scorers on Kantianism is more likely to see others as people, not as a means to an end. And high scorers for faith in humanity are more likely to believe others are fundamentally good. And on the Kantianism, this was a gentleman he was a philosopher, and he believed in goodness and light. Individuals who score high on light triad traits also report higher levels of religiosity. I hate that word, religiosity. I really don't like that word. Spirituality, life satisfaction, acceptance of others, belief that they and others are good, compassion, empathy, self-esteem, authenticity, sense of self, positive enthusiasm, having a quiet ego, openness to experience, and conscientiousness.
And what do these traits go under again?
Light triad. Additionally, those who score higher on the light triad scale are intellectually curious, secure in their attachments to others, and more tolerant to other perspectives. These individuals typically have less motives for achievement and self-enhancement. Emotional processes and capabilities. People with higher levels of dark triad traits, especially psychopathy, show emotional deficits in their knowledge about emotions and the way they regulate their emotions. I believe they lizard peoples. And the lizard peoples don't do well because lizards, they be cold-blooded.
Oh, yeah.
So that would not surprise me in the least.
We see you Kardashians and Jenners.
So within that, I do believe in the lizard people. I do believe in the reptilians.
Yep.
Some people think that it's a matter of just hyperbole or something like that. No, I really do believe that there are reptilian creatures here. Now, quickly, we're going to go over this about the big 5 personality traits. Again, this comes from Wikipedia, because that we referred to them earlier, and people are going, what are the big 5? What is this? You did not go into depth on this. And this includes openness to experience, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism. Which is,
We're neurotic.
No, actually, it's different than the other type of neurotic. So we don't know yet.
Oh, shit.
Openness to experience is a general appreciation for art, emotion, adventure, unusual ideas, imagination, curiosity, and variety of experience. High openness can be perceived as unpredictability or lack of focus, and more likely to engage in risky behavior or drug taking. So that's where you're so open that your mind falls out.
Yeah.
And let's see, they pursue self-actualization specifically by seeking out intense euphoric experiences, again with the drug taking.
Mm-hmm.
On the opposite side, those with low openness seek to gain fulfillment through perseverance and are characterized as pragmatic and data-driven, sometimes perceived to be dogmatic and closed-minded. Now again, these are other people's perception. That doesn't mean how they actually are.
Yeah.
Conscientiousness is a tendency to display self-discipline, act dutifully, and strive for achievement against measures or outside expectations. It is related to the way in which people control, regulate, and direct their impulses. High conscientiousness is often perceived as being stubborn and focused. Low conscientiousness is associated with flexibility and spontaneity, but can also appear as sloppiness and lack of reliability. So you want happy mediums within these.
Yeah.
So the big five, this is the core personality. Test. They do have tests for all this stuff. Extroversion. I do not do this. The trait is marked by pronounced
external
engagement. World. Extroverts enjoy interacting with people and are often perceived as full of energy. Well, yeah, because they're sucking everybody else dry. They tend to be enthusiastic, action-oriented individuals. They possess high group visibility. They like to talk and assert themselves. Extroverted people may appear more dominant in social settings as opposed to introverted people in this setting. Introverts have lower social engagement and energy levels than extroverts. Only when it's in those social settings.
Yeah, pretty much.
They tend to seem quiet, low-key, deliberate, and less involved in the social world. Their lack of social involvement should not be interpreted as shyness or depression. Instead, they are more independent of their social world than extroverts. Introverts need less stimulation and more time alone than extroverts. This does not mean they are unfriendly or antisocial. Well, some of us are, but anyhow. Whether they are reserved in social situations. Yeah. Because we know how to entertain ourselves. We do not have to have other people to entertain us.
Yeah.
Agreeableness. These people value getting along with others. They're generally considerate, kind, generous, trusting and trustworthy, helpful, and willing to compromise their interests with others. Agreeable people have an optimistic view of human nature. Disagreeable individuals place self-interest above getting along with others. They're generally unconcerned with others' well-being and are less likely to extend themselves for other people. They ain't going to go out of their way. It's like it don't matter if your car's broke down or what. On the highway, they'll pass your ass by. Sometimes their skepticism about others' motives cause them to be suspicious, unfriendly, and uncooperative. Or is it a matter that they think that other people are going to do to them what they would do to other people?
They think everybody's going to screw them over.
Mm-hmm. Low agreeableness personalities, that is how that was written, are often competitive or challenging people, which can be seen as argumentative or untrustworthy. Agreeableness has been found to be negatively related to transactional leadership in the military. I thought that was interesting.
Oh, shit.
Of course, do they want people that can think on their own, really, to a certain level? And here we go, the neuroticism. It's a tendency to experience negative emotions such as anger, anxiety, or depression, sometimes called emotional instability, or is reversed and referred to as emotional stability. It depends on which side of the scale you're on this. Neuroticism is interlinked with low tolerance for stress or aversive stimuli. They are more likely to interpret ordinary situations as threatening. They can perceive minor frustrations as hopelessly difficult. They also tend to be flippant in the way they express emotions. Their negative emotional reactions tend to persist for unusually long periods of time, which means they are often in a bad mood. Neuroticism is connected to a pessimistic approach toward work. Well, hell yeah, if they always in a bad mood. And nobody wants to be around these people. These are the crabby people. Lacking contentment in one's life achievements can correlate with high neuroticism scores and increase one's likelihood of falling into clinical depression. Individuals high in neuroticism tend to experience more negative life events, but neuroticism also changes in response to positive and negative life experiences. So that does mean that there are some of us that shit just happens more than to others. I thought it was just crappy karma. And individuals with higher levels, really, with higher levels of neuroticism tend to have worse psychological well-being. Well, no shit, because everything keeps blowing up. Individuals who score low in neuroticism are less easily upset and are less emotionally reactive. They tend to be calm, emotionally stable, and free from persistent negative feelings. Freedom from negative feelings does not mean that low scorers experience a lot of positive feelings.
What?
I guess they have flatness of effect. I don't know. I don't know.
I would rather flatness of effect than, the other ones.
Well, yeah. Neuroticism is similar, but not identical, to being neurotic in the Freudian sense. Freud had severe mother issues.
Then what the fuck is neurotic?
I didn't look up the clinical definition from Freud, because seriously, Freud was nuts. He was nuts, and he was a grifter.
What does that mean?
That means that his intention was to get money from these wealthy, middle-aged and older ladies, who I'm sure that he probably had a dark triad personality, or several of them. In his view of everything, it was some kind of mother issue, and everything had some kind of sexual connotation. Everything was some kind of repressed sexual desire. Of course, I guess it was one of those Victorian type things. He may have been right during that period of time.
That's fucked up.
He was odd. He was odd. A lot of these people that did the psychologies, the researches and all that stuff, they are odd. Yeah. But as far as the dark triad, yeah. And I'm glad that they included as far as the light triad.
Yeah, because you can't focus on the dark all the time.
No, you can't. And you pick sides a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's a matter of trying to heal the hurt, for the people that are knocking others down. Mm-hmm. There are those of us that are designed to lift them up. And it's just, let your light shine, especially in this time of darkness.
Yes.
And it's amazing. And we do this once a year. Sit in a dark room, light a candle, and just see how bright that one little candle can be. So, if you've got experiences with paranormal, supernatural, encounters with UFOs, aliens, cryptids,
everything.
If you have issues, if you know people with this dark triad, everybody knows somebody. If you are one of the peoples with the dark triad, please get some help. Seriously. I'm not in a clinical. I am not to be used to diagnose, treat, or whatever, but I can talk to you. And
literally, you don't need a professional degree or whatever the fuck to tell someone, get some help, get some professional help.
Right, I understand that. That's just people. Mm-hmm. If you've got local, regional, family, myths, legends, what have you, send us an email, cupofcoffeewithscream@gmail.com. Know that you're loved. Know that you have value. Know that, you're here for a purpose. Even if you don't know what your purpose is right now, maybe it's just a matter to brighten somebody else's day, to let that light shine. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's a life worth living.
Yeah.
To counteract the darkness during this time. So you all have a beautiful, blessed day, and we'll see you on the next cup.
Mm-hmm. And if you liked this video, like, share, comment, and most of all, subscribe and click that little notification bell for our daily uploads.
Daily notifications.
Yeah, daily notifications for our daily uploads.
That sounds good. That sounds good. We'll see you on the next cup.
Damn it, I
Bye.
almost fucking had it. Shit. I need to put my ass to sleep.